Marc Preston Webb is an American music video, short film, and film director. He made his feature film directorial debut with the 2009 romantic comedy drama Days of Summer and went on to direct the 2012 Spider-Man reboot The Amazing Spider-Man and its sequel The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014. Life and career. Webb was born in Bloomington, Indiana, the son of Margaret Ruth and Norman Lott Webb, who works in math education at the University of Wisconsin. When he was 18 months old, Webb's family moved to Madison, Wisconsin, where he was raised. He graduated from Madison West High School in 1992, and subsequently attended Colorado College, and the University of Wisconsin-Madison, from which he graduated with an English degree. His feature-length debut, Days of Summer, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel, was released in July 2009 to a positive critical reception. In January 2010, Columbia Pictures hired Webb to direct The Amazing Spider-Man, a reboot of the Spider-Man film franchise, released in July 2012 and starring Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Webb announced that he will not direct any of the Amazing Spider-Man movies after the third installment, but he did express interest in serving as a creative consultant for future Spider-Man films and spin-offs. Webb is signed to DNA in Hollywood, California and Academy Productions Limited in the United Kingdom. Webb's lamb. Webb's signature is a white lamb, which has appeared in a few of his videos. In brand new Sick Transit Gloria. Glory fades video, the lamb appears on the door before Jesse Lacey enters the bar. It also appears on the shirt of a girl in the bar. In Yellowcard's Ocean Avenue, and Rough Landing, Holly videos, the lamb appears on the briefcase Ryan Key carries around. Filmography, films, 500, Days of Summer, director, The Amazing Spider-Man, director, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, director, The Amazing Spider-Man 3, director, television, The Manager and the Salesman, The Office, pilot, Lone Star, Battleground, executive producer, music videos, 1997, Blues Traveler Euro-Canadian Rose, 1999, Earth to Andy Still After You, 2000, Colder Just Got Wicked, Santana featuring music Nothing at All, Anastasia Not That Kind, 2001, On the Line All Stars featuring Lance Bass On the Line, Three Doors Down Duck and Run, Good Charlotte Motivation Proclamation, AFI The Days of the Phoenix, Big Dumb Face Duke Lion, Felix Brothers Right Here, Right Now, Oleander Are You There? Green Day Waiting, Good Charlotte Festival Song, Live Simple Creed, Professional Murder Music Slow, Stereo Mud Pain, Godhead Eleanor Rigby, Live featuring Tricky Simple Creed, Pressure 45 Beat the World, True Vibe On the Line, 2002, Unwritten Law Seeing Red, Counting Crows American Girls, Soil Unreal, Puddle of Mud She Hates Me, Maroon 5 Harder to Breathe, Hatebreed I Will Be Heard, The Wallflowers When. Yow Unregistered Trademark Free on Top, O-Town These Are the Days, Huabastang Remember Me, Disturbed Remember, 2003, Cold Stupid Girl, POD. Sleeping Awake, AFI The Leaving Song. Point 2, Santana and Alex Band Why Don't You and I, Three Doors Down Here Without You, Memento Savior, Wakefield Say You Will, MXPX Everything Sucks, POD. Will You, brand new Sick Transit Gloria. Glory Fades, 2004, POD. Change the World, Gavin DeGraw I Don't Want to Be, Smile Empty Soul Silhouettes, Puddle of Mud Heel Overhead, Midtown Give It Up, Yellowcard Ocean Avenue, My Chemical Romance I'm Not Okay, Sparta Breaking the Broken, Jesse McCartney Beautiful Soul, Dirty Vegas Walk Into the Sun, Coheed and Cambria Blood Red Summer, Switchfoot Dare You to Move, Huabastanga Disappear, 2005, Jimmy Eat World Work, Daniel Powter Bad Day, The Used to All That I've Got, My Chemical Romance a Euro Helena, Snow Patrol a Euro Chocolate, Low Millions a Euro Eleanor, Songz featuring Twister a Euro Gotta Make It, Antigone Rising a Euro Donia Euro Unregistered Trademark T Look Back, Hot Heat a Euro Middle of Nowhere, Incubus a Euro Make a Move, Hilary Duff a Euro Wake Up, My Chemical Romance a Euro The Ghost of You, Ashlee Simpson a Euro Boyfriend, Daniel Powter a Euro Free Loop, Yellowcard a Euro Lights and Sounds, Weezer a Euro Perfect Situation, 2006, All. American Rejects a Euro Move Along, Mattis Yahoo a Euro Youth, Ellie and AJ a Euro Rush, Daniel Powter a Euro Lie to Me, Yellowcard a Euro Rough Landing, Holly, AFI a Euro Miss Murder, Ashlee Simpson a Euro Invisible, Fergie a Euro London Bridge, Regina Spektor a Euro Fidelity, Evanescence a Euro Call Me When You're Sober, AFI a Euro Love Like Winter, The Pussycat Dolls featuring Timbaland a Euro Wait a Minute, Barefoot a Euro Rain, Teddy Geiger a Euro These Walls, 2007, Good Charlotte a Euro The River, Reliant K a Euro Must Have Done Something. Right, P. Diddy a Euro Last Night, My Chemical Romance a Euro I Don't Love You, My Chemical Romance a Euro Teenagers, My Chemical Romance Blood, Evanescence a Euro Good Enough, BLAQK Audio a Euro Stiff Kittens, Regina Spektor a Euro Fidelity, Fergie a Euro Clumsy, Miley Cyrus a Euro Start All Over, 2008, Maroon 5 a Euro Goodnight, Nelly featuring Fergie a Euro Party People, The All-American Rejects a Euro Gives You Hell, 2009, Green Day a Euro 21 Guns, She and Him a Euro, Why Do You Let Me Stay Here? Green Day a Euro 21st Century Breakdown, Weezer a Euro, If You're Wondering If I Want You To, I Want You To, 2010, Green Day a Euro Last of the American Girls, Editor Videography, MXPX a Euro Everything Sucks, Brand New a Euro Sick Transit Gloria, Glory Fades, References. External links, Marc Webb at the Internet Movie Database, Marc Webb on Twitter, Marc Webb at mtbis.com, Die Music Video Datenbank.